Hello everyone, Valor here, and I'm back talking about that guy that got his guts rearranged by Yuji's dad. Yes sir, I am back talking about my favourite character in Jujutsu Kaisen, Kenjaku. But wait, haven't I already covered Kenjaku and Geto in a previous video?
Well yes, but actually no.
In that video, I was mainly combining the two and talking mostly about Suguru Geto. However, in this video, we're going to be taking a deeper look at Kenjaku and why I think he is arguably the strongest in Jujutsu Kaisen right now. So, starting off by answering the question in the video's title, just who is Kenjaku? Well, Kenjaku has gone by many names, and the most well known as of recent are Narutoshi Kamo and Suguru Geto. As Narutoshi Kamo, Kenjaku managed to fail his pullout gain 9 times in a row, and this resulted in 9 abortions, which earned him the title as the stain on the Kamo family and the most evil sorcerer in history. What? Want me to crack a joke or something? Like, he failed 9 times? What am I supposed to say to that? Anyway, these 9 abortions became known as the Cursed Womb Death Paintings, and a few of them are strong enough to be known as special grade entities. Just think about that for a moment.
Yeah, well I was like 20,000 is like a sperm, so, you know.
I cannot make this shit up. Kenjaku's literal nut was special grade level. And that's from an arguably weaker Kenjaku, since sorcerers are constantly growing in power through various means. And to give a clearer example of just how literal I'm being with this joke, Yuji is Kenjaku's son, and look at him. He is literally described as a demon god and is able to go somewhat toe-to-toe with Yuta Akatsu, the dude who literally fought Geto, and the dude who has more cursed energy than Gojo with just a year of training. Now, how does this relate to Kenjaku? Just because his kids are strong, what does that mean he is? Well, aside from the last ramble being a strong case for him, Kenjaku himself clearly states that nothing he creates can ever surpass his own potential, and this is why he seeks a chaos he cannot control. What Kenjaku means by this is that any heights, say Yuji or Choso can obtain, he can also obtain, and thus won't bring about the future he is looking for. Yuji at his max potential would only ever be as strong as Kenjaku at his max potential. So why is this relevant? Well, Kenjaku has been around for something like 300 years at this point, and the narrative has been implying that he is one of the most knowledgeable people on Jujutsu in this entire verse, only really being rivaled by Sukuna. And Kenjaku even seems to know Sukuna and was around for the golden age of curse techniques, so he has a great deal of experience with Jujutsu, which ties into why I think he's at the top. Any real Jujutsu that is thrown at Kenjaku is likely already known by him, and he likely already knows the counters. Take for instance the new Shadow Star. When he sees Kukusabe use it, he's barely phased at all that his attack was stopped, almost like it changed nothing, or he already knew that what was happening. This is the narrative pushing his knowledge of the world around him to get the reader to understand that nothing can really phase Kenjaku when it comes to raw Jujutsu. Next is how this ties into his intelligence. Kenjaku was able to simultaneously manipulate the entire Jujutsu College, all the disaster curses, and Gojo into performing the Shibuya incident and sealing Gojo, creating the Culling Games and absorbing Mahito. The only part about the Shibuya incident that Kenjaku found to have failed was he didn't get to absorb Jogo, and even then he's barely concerned with the loss. Think about that, since this is some Aizen level shit. Kenjaku manipulated what many people believe to be the strongest character in JJK. He manipulated all the antagonists and manipulated the Jujutsu College into doing exactly what he wanted. Remember this quote, "I coveted his curse manipulation and these exact circumstances." That should tell you everything, and all of this was done in roughly a year. We don't know exactly how long Kenjaku had been planning this, but from how he seems to have only recently met the disaster curses, and how he seems to have already planned everything out as soon as he met them, I'd wager that Kenjaku can make these extremely complex plans insanely quickly. Kenjaku is literally an anomaly that should be in Bleach rather than JJK. Like, bro, he is too galaxy brained. It's insane how smart this guy is. Also, let me know in the comments who you have in a chess match, Aizen or Kenjaku. To further illustrate just how insane Kenjaku is, the Six Eyes could run through every possibility but could not recognize Kenjaku's plans before or after they happened. It saw Kenjaku and just defaulted it to being Geto, and rejected every possibility, including the one that says this guy was a fake that played Gojo like a fiddle. So Kenjaku is playing 34th dimensional chess. So why is he the strongest? And didn't he have to seal Gojo? How can he be the strongest if he had to lock someone else in a box and basically remove them from the story? Well, let's tackle the second question before we answer the first. So it's made clear by Tengen that the reason Kenjaku has failed in the past is due to the Six Eyes consistently getting in the way of his plans, and how fate has bound Kenjaku and the Six Eyes to be in this eternal war and thus halting Kenjaku's plan. This is to say that Gojo is actually very minor in the grand scheme of things, and that Gojo could be replaced by anyone with the Six Eyes, and this would halt Kenjaku's plans, since this is the fate he is chained down by. However, when Toji came along and broke those chains via his actions and hidden inventory, this kickstarted Kenjaku's plans and altered them in a way to where they would now succeed. The reason Kenjaku had to seal Gojo instead of finding a way to kill him was because of these Six Eyes, and how when previously a Six Eyes user was killed, another would appear right before he would claim victory and stop his plans. Notice how this has happened before, and yet Kenjaku isn't dead. These Six Eyes users have never killed Kenjaku, they have simply stopped his plans. So when Kenjaku says that Gojo is quote too strong for his plans and had to seal him away, what he's actually referring to, or another way of putting it is what he is actually talking to, is the Six Eyes and their fate. And how many people would jump to the point now of the author said he was the strongest in the manga, and other such statements referring to Gojo, but there are multiple different ways Kenjaku can still be the strongest and these statements still be okay. The first way is that Kenjaku wasn't actually introduced until fairly recently. Up until now, he has been built up as Geto and Naruto Shikama, and even these were misdirections on the author's part. This is what we'd call a retroactive introduction, revealing a previously known character as another later on. So technically speaking, Gojo would be the strongest up until it's revealed who Kenjaku is, and you can interpret it this way, or you could go another route, and another route you can interpret it. These statements is that the author is concealing or misdirecting the audience's attention to Gojo so that no one actually questions Kenjaku, which makes it more narratively impactful when Kenjaku puts him in a box. But the main thing I want to talk about is the statement from Choso. After fighting a suppressed Kenjaku, Choso goes on to tell Yuji, who by the way was relative to 15 finger level Yuta, that Yuji absolutely must have Yuta help him fight Kenjaku. Not even mentioning winning, just fighting a suppressed Kenjaku requires Yuta Akatsu's help, who has even more cursed energy than Gojo. So why does this mean Kenjaku is the strongest? Well, Yuji also believed after fighting Yuta that he could probably beat 20 finger Sukuna, and Yuji was at least able to swap hands with that same Yuta. So this is more or less 2 Sukuna level fighters are needed just to fight a holding back Kenjaku. And I've already explained why I believe Sukuna is stronger than Geto. Now, you also have the instances of Tengen explaining how he is this existing and non-existing being, and he is something above sorcerers, and he's like, yeah, Kenjaku comes near me, I'll probably die instantly. He can probably just instantly consume me and absorb me. That should tell you an immense amount, considering this is the strongest barrier user, or excuse me, the one who has the strongest barriers, yet he cannot make a barrier to stop Kenjaku from just fucking eating this dude. Now, I'm never going to change everyone's mind, and that's not the point of this video. The point of this video was to explain a little bit about Kenjaku and why he is the strongest, or why I believe he is the strongest. But I hope I can at least change a few people's minds, or give people reason to like Kenjaku more. Thanks for watching everyone, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.